So we're going to continue with lesson 2.3, which is dividing mixed numbers. It's very similar to 2.2. When you divide mixed numbers, you write each mixed number as an improper fraction, then divide as you would with proper fractions. I'm going to look at the first example here. If you had a book, you would be on page 62, and we're going to find the solution to 2 2/3 divided by 2/3. So we're going to focus first on that 2 2/3 because it's a mixed number. We can't multiply or divide mixed numbers as they are. We have to change them to improper fractions. So we changed it first to 8/3. We keep it a division problem right at first. We say 8/3 divided by 2/3. When we finish with that, then we can multiply by the reciprocal of 2/3. So it would be 8/3 times 3/2, 24/6, or 4. I would also simplify here. These two are both, they have a GCF of 3, these have a GCF of 2. You remember how I said I like to simplify before I multiply. You don't have to do that every time to get the right answer clearly, but the question is, if you have 2 2/3 of something and you divide it into 2/3, how many 2/3 would be in 2 2/3? And the answer is 4. Not always, but a lot of times when you have a mixed number divided by a fraction, there's a lot of times your answer will be a whole number. So don't be surprised by that. Here's a model of that. We have 1, 2, 2/3. The question is how many 2/3 are in there. Here's 1 2/3, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one for 4 2/3. All right, next example. 3 5/6 divided by 1 2/3. So you have two mixed numbers, so you're going to have to change them both to improper fraction. That's the first thing you do. Well, they say estimate, which is not wrong. So they changed the first one to an improper fraction, and they also change your second fraction. So they do both the dividend and the divisor. Both of them are changed to improper fractions. Then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, or keep it, change it, flip it. These two can simplify if you would like to go ahead and do that. They're both divisible by 3. You would have a 1 here and a 2 here. 23/10. Simplify 2 3/10. Is our answer reasonable? Well, since this is close to 4 and this is close to 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2, our answer is reasonable because this is very close to 2. It has some try it problems. Of course, you don't have your book, so that's something that you can't look at. Let's go look at the next example. And this is going to be using the order of operations with fractions. Notice in this problem we have division and subtraction. And if you remember the order of operations, we do parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide left to right, add and subtract left to right. And when I say parentheses, that's really any grouping symbols. So what we need to deal with here first is the division part of the problem. Okay, don't worry about that minus 2/3 yet. Just focus on this part right here, dividing this fraction or this mixed number by this mixed number. First, you're going to have to change them both to improper fractions. Just focusing here still. Don't worry about this yet. Multiply by the reciprocal. Again, we're just doing this right here. If you want to say keep it, change it, flip it, that's what we just did. We're still working on that part. We multiply and we get 168/36. Now, if you had simplified before you had multiplied, you would end up with a third at the bottom. See, that's why I like to do this. These are both divisible by 4. This would have been a 1. This would have been a 2. These are both divisible by 3. This would have left you a 3 here and a 7 here. So it would have been 14/3. What they did is they went ahead and multiplied it and then had to simplify it. Either way is fine. Like I said, once you get with bigger fractions, sometimes it's easier to simplify before you multiply. So 14/3 minus 2/3 is 12/3. And as we all know, a fraction is just a division problem. 12 divided by 3 is 4. You can use estimation to check your answers to see if they're reasonable. This is close to 5. This is close to 1. 5 divided by 1 is 5. 5 minus 2/3, or 5 minus 1, would be 4. So it's a reasonable answer. All right, let's look at the example, modeling real life. All right, 1 serving of tortilla soup is 1 2/3 cup. A restaurant cook makes 50 cups of soup. Is there enough to serve 35 people? So we've got 50 cups of soup that have to be divided amongst a bunch of people, at least 35 people, and everybody needs to get, he divides it up by 1 2/3. Let's see if they wrote it that way. Yeah. So we're going to divide the 50 cups of soup by 1 2/3 cups, and that will tell us how many servings we have. So once we have this mixed number here, we know we got to change it to an improper fraction. Multiply by the reciprocal. See how we flip the second one, keep the first one the same. First thing you need to remember every time is just change them to improper fractions first. Then, next step, you do the keep it, change it, flip it, if you want to call it that. Multiply by the reciprocal. All right, we multiply. Also, you notice these could cancel here, or simplify, not cancel, simplify. We can simplify, and we get 30 servings. So is there enough to serve 35 people? And the answer is no, because there's only 30 servings. That's not enough. Here's another way you could do it. You could do it the other way around. You could say, if I multiply 35 times 1 2/3, because I know I need to feed 35 people and everybody gets 1 2/3 cups, how many cups of soup will that be? Well, that would end up being 58 1/3 cups of soup, and you can see they only made 50 cups of soup. All right, so your homework is 2.3. Remember, you can just do the even problems. If you have any questions, remember that the book is online. I put it on Google Classroom. I put the chapter under chapter 2. I uploaded this chapter 2, so you can look at it if you need to. All right, I will check with y'all later. Thank you.